differ on what happens. Do you set up a burial committee? The majority are saying, you buy medicine, but the person is dead. And I want to go by your guidance at the beginning of this process that actually if there is non-compliance, there is even the option to reject. Mr. Speaker and honorable members, consideration of the budget framework paper is the first but most important stage in the appropriation process. It is at this stage that you interact with the set of priorities for the next financial year. Articles 154 and 155 of the Constitution assign you, Parliament, and the executive specific roles in preparation of the country's annual budget. Under Article 154, no monies can be withdrawn from the consolidated fund except with your authority, and here I mean Parliament, which you exercise through enactment of the Appropriation Act. When you fail to appropriate in time, the President is allowed by the same article to access monies to run public affairs, but only for 4 months. And I want to emphasize, taxpayers' money can only be withdrawn with your permission. If you surrender this responsibility, please blame nobody except yourself. Article 155 instructs the President to prepare and submit to you the annual budget for approval. It also gives you authority to determine the format the President must follow in preparation. The format you set out in the Public Finance Management Act states, the Minister of Finance shall, for each financial year, prepare a budget framework paper approved by Cabinet and present it to you, here I mean Parliament. The budget framework paper, therefore, is the first draft. This is the stage where the aspirations of your people come face to face with the government priorities, and the Chair has listed those aspirations. Mr. Speaker, I begin with the format. Section 9 of the Public Finance Management Act and Schedule 3 outlines the format the budget framework paper must follow. Your first task this morning is to examine whether the budget framework paper before you followed the format. Among others, the budget framework paper must be consistent with the National Development Plan and with the Charter of Fiscal Responsibility. I want to emphasize that the Chair has said actually it was not consistent. But in the conclusion, the majority are saying approve. Schedule 3 of the Public Finance Management Act outlines 8 other parameters that the framework paper must meet, including projections of government expenditure in respect of each vote for the financial year and the next financial year, split into current expenditure and investment plan. This is listed as number 7 on the schedule. Let us examine the consistency of the budget framework paper with the set parameters. Part of the examination, we agreed that actually it was inconsistent. The draft budget, you may call it the budget framework paper, and therefore is supposed to finance the country's National Development Plan. The National Development Plan is developed by National Planning Authority under the National Planning Authority Act. The Development Plan is supposed to be approved by Parliament. On December 19, 2024, Minister of Finance presented to Parliament the budget framework paper together with the draft National Development Plan, which is NDP4. The following day, Honorable Musasizi was on his Twitter account celebrating this mess. that both documents came the same day. Actually, one must precede because you begin drafting a budget according to the plan, but they came together. I don't know what they were following. What a Senate government, something I cannot accuse NRM of, should have done is to present a draft plan for approval by Parliament first, and then a draft budget prepared in accordance with the plan. The development plan was approved by Parliament on January 9th, 2025, 20 days after the presentation of the budget. Not surprising that the two documents don't speak to each other. The development plan proposes 92 trillion budget for the first year of implementation, which is next financial year. The budget, as rightly captured by the majority report, proposes 57.44 trillion. Either the development plan was guesswork, or the framework paper, or both. The development plan projects 67.7 trillion in revenue correction in the first year, but the framework paper puts it at 33.681 trillion. Spending on luxury. The development plan and budget framework paper list agro-industrialization, tourism, minerals, including oil and gas, and science and technology, including ICT and creative art, which are summarized as items as top priorities. But real money is allocated to the usual useless things such as donations, workshop, travel, special meals, vehicles, furniture, etc. In this year's budget, government didn't give National Curriculum Development Center, leave alone the 12 billion, but they wanted 7 billion as a stopgap measure because you have children who are reporting next month. 7 billion was not put in the budget to prepare curriculum for senior 5, but allocated our visionary leader, General 𝙎𝙎𝙀𝙍𝙍𝙍𝙍𝙍𝙍𝙍 80 billion for donation. You have no money for curriculum, the president has money for donation. To the NRM government, popularizing an 80-year-old man who has been in power for 39 years was more important than preparing a curriculum for our children. Then they speak of a development plan. Look at the money this visionary leader is spending visiting sugarcane plantations in Busoga and posing for photos as if he's an extension worker